Hi, hello, welcome. This is not Fred Slow. This is For Sale. This is your boy. I am joined by two of my good friends, Gabe Gambino and Turbo Tony. We are live right now. We're doing a podcast right now. We are live, but we will be heard on Saturday morning on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The sports animal.
Hopefully, I did that lock that in. I'm still working on logging that in for us, but I want to say welcome, guys. Welcome, boys. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, I'm pumped to be here as always. I was on the Real Show a few weeks ago, and I'm just glad to be back. I'm glad we had fun then. We're gonna have fun again tonight.
That's right. It's my personal trainer, everybody.
Yeah.
Talk about this a little bit. Tell me
Tell,
about what's going on
tell them
in
what's
this
going on, Gabe.
world.
Tell them how our first day was the other day.
So I got smoked just learning the lifts. You know, my body was like, "Oh, we haven't done this in a very long time." And
So what's going on? Tell the people, tell the wonderful people of Albuquerque, the wonderful people of the interwebs, what's going on?
well, so it kind of started out. I was like, "Hey, I want to make some changes," and I started following Tony, on Instagram because we started, playing. As you know, my band plays for the Duke City Championship Wrestling shows, and when we were doing that, I was like, "Wait, Tony's a trainer." Like, I was like, I would like to solicit his services, and so Tony was like, "Yeah, let's meet up, let's work on that." And I was talking to Fred about it, and he goes, "That's a show."
And
He
that's an
was-
excellent, yeah. So you're logging in your well your well journey to wellness on a physical, mental, possibly spiritual level. And what is the show called? Or what are we to expect in this?
so it's going to be on the Duke City Championship Wrestling page on the YouTube there at DCC Dub, but it's called Gambino Goes Turbo.
All
And
right, that sounds good.
let me tell you, my butt cheeks and my legs do not feel so turbo today. I'm I did do some treadmilling today as well. And oh, thank you, Duke City Warriors. Yeah, we got the live chat going right now, but uh
Friend of the show, Duke City Warriors is actually live with us right now, and they're encouraging Gabe that you got this. But followed right after that, the fellow Gabe, cut the hair already, Gabe, from Gabe Rodriguez,
look,
and
I literally cut it yesterday. Like I got a little taper going on.
I
So I
think
don't
they
know.
want I think they want you to keep tapering it. I guess.
They're like
More
taper
taper.
harder,
It's not tapered
taper
enough.
harder. You know, as a licensed barber, shut up.
We're starting off this video right, and we're starting off this session right because I guess Gabe is just Gambino is just beefing with everyone. So,
Right?
I'm on this week, dude.
so we're here to talk about some professional wrestling. A lot has been going on this first week that we've been back in this year of 2024, the year of our Lord. WWE is making some big announcements, some big returns. AEW has a couple of cool debuts. New Japan had a couple debuts. I want to see like what are some things that you're looking forward to as no, we're not just in the industry, we're not just in the part of the business. We're fans ourselves, man. Like the only way you can actually enjoy this product is actually enjoying the product. I want to hear from you. What are things that you're looking forward to this year?
So before we talk about what we're looking forward to, Triple H was talking about he advertised that on January 1st there was going to be a former world champion that shows up on Raw, right? Because it's
Yeah.
day one and he wants to start off with a bang. So when I heard that it was Jinder Mahal, I was like, stop. This is the most Triple H thing ever.
It was kind of beautiful promo, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's still got it.
He still got it. And by the way, that if you watch just the first half of that segment, you missed out on the second half. Was one of the most beautiful things to kick off this year. The return of Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and he made his presence known. Do you think he really called out some shots on that one? What do you think?
Oh, he definitely called out. He called out at least one shot at the very end.
Tell me
I
about
mean,
it.
he talked about he was going to go leave and get some food, and he asked if he was going to eat in a booth or eat in a bar or sit at the head of the table, and the whole crowd knew it too. As soon as he said it, the crowd was like, "Are we finally getting Rock versus Roman?" They've been talking about it for I think like 2 years now, and it hasn't happened yet because of just this reason or that reason. But now we might be on that road.
What do you think, Gabe?
Dude, having The Rock back in wrestling is like, I've been watching. I have a subscription to the the Peacock streaming service there, and I was like watching a lot of the old WWE stuff. I was I was at Royal Rumble when I was like 9 years old, and I was like, man, I remember when he was just starting out, and having him back. You think CM Punk is like, he's like, dude,
bro. I was just gonna say something about that. Can we talk about how 10 years ago CM Punk left because The Rock was getting his spot at WrestleMania, only to come back 10 years later, talk about going to WrestleMania, and then The Rock right on his heels come right back in. Maybe not going to WrestleMania, but going straight to a main event in the future.
He could cut that same promo right now.
I'm
He could verbatim, word for word. Such a timeless promo that he cut. And so here's the bigger question: do you think necessarily they're trying to like set up a marquee for The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania, or do a little bit of filler between WrestleMania and Royal Rumble? Because what do you think? What do you think?
I think we could get Rock and Roman. I think it would be good to have them at Elimination Chamber, since that's going to be over in West Australia.
Perth, right?
Yep, Perth, Australia.
Oh, we got some friends out there in Manhattan.
I think that'd be a real good way to just fill that building, fill that stadium, because it's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So how do you fill it quick? You put The Rock in the building.
That would be actually a beautiful thing to see. Not just that. You got to mention, since we're going to Australia, Rhea Ripley, man. That's a little homecoming for her, and she's been on fire lately. I know that there's been like a bit of a shuffle with the ladies division because Charlotte Flair is out on injury. She's going to be out for a minute. She tore ACL, MCL, ABC, DC, all that stuff, man.
CDL, I think, too.
Yeah,
all the
GDL, GED.
The HIJ's gone.
Oh man, that's the worst of it right there, man.
When she tore CDL, she lost the right to drive a truck.
And so with her gone, they're doing some shuffling, and it looked like they were trying to, it felt like they were trying to bring back the four horsewomen, because like that would have been awesome. But it looks like I'm calling it, man. I'd say Mercedes Moné, Miss Sasha Banks might be coming back. Maybe she's coming back probably with her proper name.
Who isn't coming back? Like I've been enjoying, because I haven't we've talked about this on previous going overs. I haven't watched wrestling in a long time until I started working in it, and I was like, man, the product now is like so cool. But there's also, there's like a great nostalgia factor lately as well, with people coming back. But I've been watching a lot of these newer wrestlers as well.
It's been a beautiful thing. How about you, Turbo Tony? So you've been in the business and you're growing in the business, but is there anything that you're keeping an eye out for that's something like, I want to work towards that, or you're just like continuing to build your craft and stuff?
Right now I'm in a phase where I finally hit that stride where I feel like, overall I've been wrestling for like 14 years, but I took 2 breaks. So I like to just cut those years off and just say I've been wrestling at this point like 9 years, because that's really what it's been when you take those years out. And I feel like over the past year with my time at DCCW, something happened over 2023. And I hit that spot where it's just like, I finally, like, everything's starting to click. And I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to be a wrestler. This is what it's like to move in the ring. And this is what it's like to tell stories and all of that. And it's all like all the stuff that I've been learning and reading from other wrestlers, and from watching their documentaries and how they talk about, we're storytellers and how it works. And I understood it all logically. Like it all makes sense, right? You watch a movie, there's a story there. Otherwise, nobody's watching the movie. And something I still haven't figured out exactly what it was. Maybe it was just like a series of somethings, but something clicked over 2023. And I'm like, oh, I get it all now. I understand how to actually go from like A to B without just trying to like show everything off or like actually get the crowd involved, or how to actually make people want to come back the next time and see the show again.
Yeah, that's what made me want to, after the first show that we played, I was like, well, how is this going to play out? And that's kind of one thing I feel like we do really well. Like, is I like there's sometimes I'll look at Thunder, like we're packing up after the show, and I'm like, oh, I hate you. But really I don't. He's a good dude. But you look at stuff like that and you're like, man, the amount of like the performance and the storytelling that's going on is incredible, and I think that's like, to me, was always my favorite part about wrestling.
Yeah. And I'm also in a point where I'm like, physically, I feel the best that I've ever felt. I feel like I'm the strongest I've ever been. I'm the most agile I've ever been. I'm starting to get comfortable on the mic, so I'm the most comfortable there I've ever been. And so now I just want to take all those knobs and just turn them up to 10 and just see where I can go with those.
This is a beautiful thing that you're talking about. So there's like some, even though I like saying how it goes, even though couple things may go hand in hand, it's still two different hands. But wrestling and theater, per se, those two go hand in hand, but still two different hands. The moment, the moment in theater, if you're on the wings and people can see you, that means you're on, and you have to be aware of your spacing. As soon as you land near the venue, as a wrestler, you got to be on as well. Or do you pick and choose? All right, doors are open. I'm getting to gimmick. What do you think? How's it for you?
For me, it's I don't know if I'm lucky in this regard, because when you look at me in the ring and you look at me outside of the ring, you get pretty much the same person for the most part. It's just the volume knob is a little bit quieter when I'm outside of the ring versus when I'm in the ring is really the main difference. And so for me, it's a matter of like, for lack of a better way to put it, I just show up at the venue and I'm just ready to go. And then as I'm getting ready for the match, that's when like the butterflies start to hit and I start getting nervous and all that stuff that like any performer goes through right before going on stage. And then my music hits.
Right.
Then I go through the curtain and all of a sudden I just forget that I'm nervous and I'm like, cool, it's just time to go to work, and off to the races we go.
What's cool too is like Tony really he really set the tone. He showed up in a suit. It was like, oh, okay, this is like, this is like we're hitting a new level. You know what I mean?
And that's part of it. It's like it's
like NBA.
And that's what I mean. Like when I show up, I just show up, right? Like, because it's part of like how you show up to the building dictates how you're gonna show up to like the rest of the day. It's like that saying, like, how you do anything is how you do everything. Like if you are taking care of, right, if you take good care of your hygiene, let's say, right, that's gonna show up in how you take care of everything else in your life. So I show up in a suit at this show last month. And it helps put me in the mindset, because I'm like, cool, I'm ready to like be a like full-on professional. And like, that's how professionals roll, right? We show up, we take care of how we look on the outside so we can take care of ourselves on the inside. And then when we know it's time to go to work, we're already in that mindset. So it's not as much of a big shift,
For those of us who are just joining us, we're still playing on Saturday morning. If you're joining us on the 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. We are live with Gabe Gambino from Man High, as well as Coach Turbo Tony. Fred Slow is he's taking a nap. The man's worked hard enough. He needs a nap every now and then. Bless his heart. But you still got me. It's your boy, Solid Taylor, Faux Sale. And we're talking about a little bit behind the curtain on some stuff. We're talking about things that we're excited about for this year. We're talking about things that you may be excited about. Our chat is going crazy right now. We appreciate everyone that's logging in as we're taping this, one of my favorite things that I'm seeing is Jay Sizzle, faux Rizzle, faux sale, faux president. I'm kind of proud of that.
He said that a bunch of times on this podcast so far, so I think he's onto something.
I think he might be onto something, but like my policies would be horrible. First, it would start off with food, and like
and eggs for the whole country.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Make spam great again, baby.
Yeah. Spam's always been great.
Actually, well said. Make spam affordable again. That's the big part right there.
There's the kicker.
What's the deal with that?
Now, friend of the show and also friend of talent for our Duke City Championship Wrestling, Jay Sizzle Forrizza, the man with the mouthpiece, the man with the plan himself, who speaks on behalf of the Highplex Mex. Mexplex.
The Pueblo Pontificator.
Well said. Yeah.
Wow.
Whew.
The Mexplex, the mouthpiece for the Mexplex. I enjoy watching them. I do really appreciate them coming out to our shows, and I love that he's talking about. He's really looking forward to the future. This,
Absolutely,
you know, it's a beautiful thing when you're talking about, you know, for those who have been sticking with the wrestling product for a while, a long while, and those who've been paying their dues, holding it down, but like making it easier for everyone else to just come in and just enjoy the product again. Because let's be honest, man, it is a great time to be a fan again, and I am loving every minute of this. I'm loving this. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. It's a renaissance of like a new kind of territory league, especially with the internet. You know, you got NWA, the Power Hour, which is back on YouTube. You know, and speaking of which, for those who haven't seen it, but there's a really great wrestling show, a wrestling movie that came out. We're going to talk about this when we come back from a break. Once again, we are live on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. We'll be back after we get the word from our really great sponsors. And, we're going to pay some bills. We appreciate you. We'll be right back. All right, back, guys. We are back from 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. Thank you for joining us for going over. I am Faux Sale. I'm Solid Taylor. Joined in by special guest, Gabe Gambino from Mad High Music. Coach, Turbo Tony. We appreciate you, gentlemen. Fred Slow is taking a long nap, and he doesn't know we're doing this, so don't tell him, all right? Just do me a favor. But we appreciate everyone that's joining us right now.
Look, you know.
What's that? Say again?
So if you if you knew we were doing this, he'd pop in the chat and remind us. Like,
Daddy Fred.
Just like, Tony, you're cool. Solid, Gabe, you suck.
We'll have a talk. We're gonna have a talk after this.
We'll talk off air.
Yeah.
Every time my phone rings and it's Fred, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, I think of all the things. I'm like, what am I supposed to do right now?
Not this. All right, for those who are just joining us, we're talking about the world of professional wrestling, things we love about it, the things that we're looking forward to. And now we're going to talk about the media of it, pro wrestling that's been in film, TV, things when it's looked good, and also things when it's just not looked so good. We're approaching this from a standpoint of fans, man. We love the sport. We love seeing it. I just watched, for those who just seen it or who's about to see it, I highly recommend you check out The Iron Claw. Such a great movie, such a great film. For those who knows the story, we already knew walking in, like, yeah, it's gonna be a great movie, but
right, it's going to be fall.
And then for those who didn't know, like, oh, it's a date night movie. Oh, that's a
imagine them walking out of that one.
Oh man, they're like
that Oppenheimer guy wasn't, man.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's like watching Oppenheimer. People coming out talking about, wow, that's not a feel-good movie. No, it isn't. It's not supposed to be.
One of my favorite things was Logan Paul talking about Oppenheimer, and he's like, "There's too much talking." And I'm like, "This, what do you want, Family Guy? You want Family Guy clips to be like on the sides of the, like it's a TikTok video or something? Like, what do you want?"
He probably at least needed some captions.
Yeah, I'm like, if you listen, it's one of the biggest historical events in the known universe. Kind of a big deal. You got to talk about it a little bit.
For those who don't know, the Iron Claw is a story about. It's a brief look into one of the wrestling's families, the Von Erichs, and it starts off from the father Fritz Von Erich down to the sons. Not all of the sons were featured on here because there's only so much we can take as an audience. It's just so heavy. Spoiler alert! It's just a heavy movie. Just oh man.
Yeah, it's definitely on some Shakespeare stuff. Like you're like, man, you can't write that.
It's a tragedy, man.
Who would?
But one of the things I do want to talk about, there's this really great scene where Zac Efron's running ropes. Tony, how did he look?
So I'm actually in the camp of people that are about to go see Iron Claw. So I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man.
So I haven't seen how Zac Efron looks running the ropes yet.
So this would be a cool thing for you then. Things to look out for. Chavo Guerrero trained the cast. And I'd say he did an amazing job.
Yeah. I remember when he was one of the trainers for Glow, and that was on Netflix too. And he did a fantastic job with that cast as well. So
that's another one that I thought was really
talk about it
because I'm a big Mark Maron fan. He's in Albuquerque. He's from Albuquerque,
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, and the cool thing was there are a lot of people that I recommended to go watch Glow, and they were not necessarily wrestling fans, and they came out a fan of the show, and then consequently a fan of wrestling too, because it did such a good job telling the story, like I was talking about a few minutes ago, of telling good stories and using wrestling more as like a backdrop behind what was actually going on the screen.
That's like such a high a high risk thing. So here's a fun thing. So those who don't know, I'm also in film as an actor, stunt. I also work in production side. A lot of times,
Tina Fey, bro.
Yeah, little shout out to Tina Fey and John Hamm. We're homies, man.
Who are you homies with?
Who am? Oh, bro, I got a list for you, baby. So a lot of times, if you're one of the primary cast members, especially for a series, you probably given if the series is ordered. If it's ordered to series where that means they're going to shoot the season, or if you're doing just a pilot episode, you're given sometimes a month to maybe 3 months of prep, if that. And as an actor, you're like, all right, I took a wrestling appreciation class in theater, but like you got to just jump right into it. So like, shout out to not just the actors, but the trainers who are able to look at where these guys are at and say, all right, are you familiar with taking a bump? And they're like, yeah, man, no, not the 80s bump, the actual bump. Right. And so
let me offer my expertise there.
We got my favorite thing about anytime this happens, like with Glow or with Iron Claw, or like if you go back a little bit further, you go to the wrestler is people will talk about
great one right there.
You look at the people that are in the cast and they get interviewed afterwards, right? And it's always the same questions like, how was the ring? How was the wrestling? And they all say the same thing. They all say, wow, that was way more physical, way more intense than I thought it was going to be. Like, shocker. It's not a trampoline with a canvas on top.
Right. Oh, and that's the first time I ever got in a ring, I was like, this is real.
Yeah.
I saw you and Fonzie like putting it together, and I'm like, oh, that's just steel beams.
Yeah. It's just steel beams and then a layer of wood on top, and then we wrap it with a canvas so it looks pretty on camera, and then we go to town.
Yeah, just keep going, keep working it.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about wrestling that's being utilized in film. One of my favorite first times you've seen when I was young, when you saw professional wrestling on a film, was the first Highlander movie. And
I didn't think of that.
The opening scene where we started wrestling, and that featured one of my uncles, Sam Fatu, who was known as the Tongan Kid, and it was one of those things where uh, production didn't really know how to work this, because usually when you're working in film, you shoot a wide, then you shoot coverage, you get closer, and they're like, we don't know how to do this, so they were like, hey, we do this for a living. How many cameras you got? 3. Make them all roll. We're gonna do this match for you. Instead of us doing the match like 40 times,
Right.
we'll do it for you 3 times, and we'll give you the angles. It looked great.
Yeah.
And from there on, like, you've seen it utilized in other things. How about any other times of well, actually, before we get to this, our friend of the show, Duke City Warriors, how difficult is it to put a ring together? Let's talk about this real quick.
It looks hard.
So there's parts of it that are easy, and then there's parts of it that become difficult if you don't pay enough attention early on. So if you've been to a wrestling show, you know that the ring is basically a square. When you're putting the posts together and you're putting the rails on the sides and you're putting the steel beams in the middle, if you don't keep things perfectly square, by the time you're putting those beams in and you're setting the wood, now things aren't lining up properly, and you're trying to set your wood down, and for some weird magical reason, you don't have enough space for all the wood. And so now what you have to do is you have to get people on all 4 corners of the ring and try to shimmy it, 2 inches this way or an inch this way to try to get everything to line up. And, it's easy, but it's difficult. It's difficult it's easy for things to go off the rails. Like if you're not paying attention up front, things get hard really fast. And then when you try to backtrack to actually make it work, you end up doing like 3 times the work, because now you have the weight of a ring behind you when you're trying to fix things.
Ooh. So it's just one of those things you have to keep a constant eye on it. And is there a thing where you have to, like, all right, take this off, like, let's go back a few steps, adjust, or you're just like, all right, we're gonna have to do this a hard way and adjust, like adding a little more oomph to it?
You can if you get the right people in place, everybody kind of gravitates to their, like, the thing that they can eye best and the thing that they can see best. Like when we're putting the ring together, Fonzie's like the best at putting the ropes together. So like when we get the ring done and it's time to put the ropes, we give the ropes to Fonzie and we're like, just go do your thing, because he just does it fantastic every single time.
I kind of imagine Fonzie just like kind of like a ballerina, just like floating around the ring, just really happy and just to himself, singing to himself.
You're not too far off. You're not too far off. But
I love you, Fonz. I love you, Fonz.
It's like that, Fonzie's a monster with the rope, so he handles that every single show. Most everything else, everybody just kind of grabs wherever, there's a certain order to put everything in, of course. Mm-hmm. And if you follow the order, you should take a minute at the end of each step. You bring the 4 corners in, you make sure that they're in place as best as you can tell, and then you bring the rails in, and you have your first challenge here where you bring the rails in, and you've got 2 people holding the rails, and then you have to move the post in place to kind of meet the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
And then as you get all 4 of those in, you still so as you put the second one in, you have to play with what you just did with the first side. And then when you get to the third side, you have to play with the second and the first side, and it just builds and builds and builds like that.
I remember seeing that, like, I think it was our second show, and we got there before the ring for the first time, and it was like just what I was like, oh, if it's a little bit off, then it's super off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then also if you mess with the rings, like the ropes, and Fonzie's not there, he gets so mad.
He's like, Fonzie, baby.
This
isn't my work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ropes are Fonzie's baby, man. You can't mess with them.
Well, I also
it's like a dad with a thermostat. You change it 1 degree, he's gonna.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I gotta talk to my wife about that.
He's gonna pop out the backstage like, who turned that turnbuckle 1 turn?
I can feel it right now. It's like I'm like, is it 82 in here right now? Like, this is 1 is too much, and 2, I'm like, we're that's unnecessary, you know.
Oh man, I remember one of the first time I ran ropes. It was like years ago, and this was like the old school WCW ropes. These were tight. These fought back every time you touched them. They touched you back, man. And then I was running our ropes. It's like feeling it. I was like, okay, oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but
Dude,
like,
rubbed
they hit a
against
sweet
it one
spot,
time,
man.
and I think I broke a rib. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this sucks, dude.
Yeah, yeah. If you're not used to them, like, yeah, they give a little bit, but they push back as hard as they give. So
Yeah.
you got to be ready for that part too.
Agreed. For those of us who are just joining on the 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal. This is Solly Taylor. I am live with Gabe Gambino from Mannheim Music, Turbo Tony. Uncle Fred is taking a nap. We're here sneaking behind his back. He don't know we hear him. Him don't know we here. So, but we chilling, we cruising,
Him
we
that
grooving.
don't know that day is there.
But we appreciate this is going over, baby. You know, we here talking about professional wrestling in all avenues and all medias and all the things, baby, because we love the sport, we love the show, we love the ring, man. Like, we love the mats, we love our fans. Turbo Tony is one of our amazing performers, amazing superstars that we have here, and Duke City Championship Wrestling. Top talent, top dude, and
I appreciate that, guys.
you know,
Top trainer too, man. I'm like, I'm so excited. Like after the first day of working with him, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be great.
he's top drawer, baby. He is top drawer.
He's
You
that
know,
top.
if you see him at a bar, he is top shelf, baby.
He's the Grey
I'm
Goose.
telling you.
I'm an importer's guy. He's a Grey Goose. You know? I'm not one of the guy yelling at you at the bus stop. I'm what that guy drinks, you know.
You're in a bag. You're in a brown bag.
Tony's that Jay-Z vodka, you know, like
comes in a box.
I don't even know how it's called, what it's called, you know. That's how just lowbrow I am.
We got a very important question from a friend of the show, Bill Cuevas. How do you feel, Mr. Manhigh, after your workout with Turbo? The word is going around, and I think we got a first answer. So we can't say that right now because we are on the radio. We're also on the radio.
No, you know what's sad? You know what's sad is it wasn't even like the real workout, you know.
This was just like an intro, like demo sort of.
Yeah, this was
this is the basics of what you need going forward. His first workout's going to be tomorrow, so ask him again in a couple of days.
Yeah,
you pick this up and put it down.
Yeah, a few times, and I was like, all right, cool. And one thing I do enjoy is that Tony's, because I'm an idiot, dude. Like anytime, like I used to work out a lot, you know, but I was like just doing whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna pick that thing up like 40 times, and then I'm gonna do this one. Tony's really good about like, hey, we're gonna ease into this, you know. So I do actually I do have some like standard.
I like that Terry Crews clip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're listening, I'm just killing it right now.
That's month 2. That's month 2. We're gonna start doing that.
Oh, terrible, baby.
With the whistle.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, the nice thing is I was like, I haven't worked out in a while because I worked out one time and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like just jump right back into it. And I killed myself. I was like, this is so, the next day I couldn't walk and I was like sitting on the toilet and I was like calling my mom.
Mom!
Get you off the toilet?
Mom!
Lift me. Gabe hurting, like just not a good look, you know what I mean? But yeah, one thing I enjoy, so like, one of the points of the show is we're gonna like get into stuff for everybody, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to go, you don't have to like go crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this will be a weekly episodic thing, or when can we look forward to start seeing these?
Well, we're gonna tease it on the real show this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to that, we're gonna talk again. I want to come right back. We are live Saturday morning, 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal. We'll be back after these messages. Yo, welcome back to Going Over. This is Faux Sale Sally Taylor. I'm live with my good friends Gabe Gambino from Manhigh Music and Coach Turbo Tony. We're going over, baby. And we are on our final segment. We're now going to do a little bit of free for all. We're still talking about professional wrestling. We're still talking about the things you want to hear, things you're looking forward to this beautiful year of our Lord, 2024. And the chats are going. We're taping this before Saturday morning, but our chats right now are going crazy. And we appreciate all of our beautiful fans that's been chiming in and adding to the chat. You're more than welcome, by the way, to just throw some hieroglyphics on here, some emojis. We would love to try and put together whatever it is you're trying to say. And I'm with it, yo. We appreciate
it. So this is kind of the first we've kind of gotten into detail about the Gambino Goes Turbo thing. But it seems to be piquing some interest here,
Which is good. That's the whole idea, right? Is to
That's exactly the
get
idea.
people to watch, because I want to give people information and tips and things that they can take with them. And if they are so inclined and they want to improve their health, they can do so with the stuff that we're going to be talking about.
Now, since Gambino's going turbo, which is a beautiful thing. Tony, you are legit a fitness coach. This is like legit what you're doing. And I want to give a little plug for you, my man. I want to talk about what it is you do, what it is you offer, and stuff. So let's talk about this a little bit and how it pertains to how this helps out your career as a professional wrestler, please.
So, at the end of the day, I'm a strength and nutrition coach. So I focus on building the body stronger, and using nutrition as a vehicle to help improve physical fitness and to improve so many other things, right? Because some of the things that we don't talk about when it comes to nutrition is how it can help improve sleep, it can help improve mood, it can help improve mental health, and we don't talk enough about those. And those are a lot of the things that those are a lot of the roads that I've taken myself down when it comes to learning about health and nutrition and exercise and pairing all that together. And so, my approach, like Gabe sort of alluded to, is it's not a boot camp style coaching where the idea is to make you super sore and super sweaty or anything like that. It's to help you find a balance with exercise and nutrition and the rest of your life, because exercise shouldn't be your entire life. It should just be a complement to your life. So it's about finding the right amount of all those things to help you have a healthy life with your friends, with your family, and still having time to do the things you need to take care of your body.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing I appreciate about it is like I will so I'll say it like as a new client of Tony's, like the information he's given me in the first third day or something like that, it's astounding. You know what I mean? And so he's got like pamphlets pretty much, and you're like, oh, okay. Hey, and he lays it out, explains stuff in a way that you're like, oh, that's what all that means. And without the bro science, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like, I fell victim to so much bro science, dude. Like
it's easy to fall into it. When I was first starting out, I fell into a lot of it too. That's how I know what doesn't work, because I tried it already. I've tried almost every diet you can think of. Like I've tried carnivore, I've tried keto, I've done intermittent fasting, I've done Atkins, I've done vegan, I've done vegetarian, I've done them all. So like I sat down one day and I was like, why do they all work? And the question isn't, does this diet work or does this not work? They all work, but the question for me became, why do they all work? And it really just comes down to, at the end of the day, is really just calories. Like all these diets work because they're different paths to get you to reduce your calories. You reduce calories, you reduce weight. It's really that simple. Like anything on top of that it's like Baskin Robbins, right? Like you're going in for ice cream, you're going in to just reduce your calories. Now you just got to figure out which way is going to work best for you.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the fun thing. I went to Top Golf today. And I was like, cool, this is exercise. I hit golf balls for a couple hours, and then but also I was like, cool, I can have like some dip, like,
Ooh,
my wife and my son, I'm like, cool, chips and dip. Like, I'm not killing myself, but I'm marking down and I'm tracking what I'm eating and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you just do it that way.
Well, yeah, after our first workout on Wednesday, we didn't go somewhere and just get like boiled chicken and rice like so many fitness magazines will try to tell you to do. we went to a noodle bar and we just got some chicken chow mein, and we talked about nutrition, and we just had, regular everyday food.
Yeah, we get to freak everybody out too, because I just set up my, I'm like, I'm gonna set up my phone, and so tell me about, right, and like everybody else in the restaurant's just like, what's this couple here talking to, like, is this couple? They're like, yeah, clearly the bald one's the man in the relationship, but they're
clearly he wears the tights in the relationship.
yeah. Well, it's funny too, because we were at Topgolf, and I'm like, hey babe, can you get some like B-roll of me hitting some golf balls, and like and I'll get you hitting some golf, and we'll kind of explain, like, cool, we got buffalo chicken dip because it has like big old chunks of chicken in it,
I love this. So, for those of us who are just joining in, Fred Slow is on a nice little nap right now. We love you, Fred, wherever you are. Like,
it was the shortest meeting of all time.
This is the
All right.
first and only time we're going live, but we are still going over. This is still Solly Taylor for sale. I'm joined once again by Gabe Gambino from Man High Music, Coach Turbo Tony, the man himself. We're talking about this beautiful little health journey where Gabe Gambino is actually going turbo. Not just that, we're also talking about some professional wrestling. So, one of the things I wanted to ask us is the scope of how wrestlers look at health then, to now, where there seems to be a bit more awareness of a more roundedness instead of just look, I want to just look my best. Now there seems to be a shift where wrestlers are like, I want to be my best. So, there's a beautiful focus on or growing awareness of mental health, which is a beautiful thing. I remember one of my uncles, you guys already know I got family in the business. One of my uncles was telling me, like, all these guys playing video games. But I'm like, hey man, at least they're doing that and not out picking a fight at a bar. Like this is like their way of like releasing another way of releasing expression and stuff. They jump on and you got all these channels of wrestlers that's like, I love to play video games. I love collecting, I love doing these collectibles and stuff. They're finding ways to express themselves, but also like kind of like express like these are things I want to do for myself. Where it's kind of it's kind of like it's an alternative way of turning away from the old. So they told you're in the new school, but you also got a taste of the old school when you first started. Like, how has that been? Seeing a lot of the transition from the old school mentality of health compared to where we are currently.
I think it's moving in a fantastic direction. Before, if you got up to 40 in wrestling, that you were considered ancient, right? Like, you were wrapping it up, you were packing it in. It was pretty much game over. Unless there were a few exceptions, but generally speaking, if you got to 40, that was time to pack it up. And now we're getting into a phase where now that everybody's focusing on long-term physical health and long-term mental health, we're seeing people well into their 40s and getting closer to and passing 50 and still being able to wrestle as good as they were like 5-10 years ago, right? Like we see
Sting's in his 60s.
Exactly. We see, you see Sting still doing his thing. You see Randy just came back from 18 months getting a double neck fusion.
Looking the best he's ever looked in the ring.
Mid upper 40s. You see AJ, same thing, mid upper 40s. You see Cena right around 50, Rock right around 50, Edge, like 47, 48 now? Yeah. Billy Gunn, high 50s, and he still looks like he's 32. And it's fantastic to see, because now you can see that there's more of an emphasis placed on like, well, what's your life going to be like after wrestling? And it turns out that when you focus on that, it actually lets you stretch out your life in wrestling. And one of the things that I for myself, when it comes to training, is the way I train is geared around keeping me healthy outside of the ring and in the ring. So like, I don't want to have a match and then be hurting for the next 2 weeks because of something in the ring.
Yeah.
So like, I train to strengthen certain things that are geared around wrestling so that one, I can do my job in the ring and I can do it well. And then two, I can wake up the next day for the most part and just like hop out of bed and just get ready for the next day.
Because you still got a life to live.
You still got a life to live, yeah. And that's where I got the idea of coaching people with that in mind, with like the rest of their life in mind. Like, cool, like we can do this workout in the gym, but if I push you so hard that you can't go to your nephew's birthday party tomorrow because you're going to be in so much pain, how likely are you going to be to want to go back and do that workout again? Probably not very likely.
Well,
But if I give you a workout that's good, still really effective, still helps your body get stronger, and then you can still go on your vacation, you can still go on a cruise, and you can still go to that birthday party and not feel like you're missing out on anything.
Right.
Now we're probably looking at something that you're going to be more interested in doing long term.
You know, that's like the thing too, is like I think, you know, culturally we got kind of sucked into this you know, this like Biggest Loser, and they're like, hey, we're gonna make a bunch of fat people puke, you know.
Yeah.
Which is like the different approach that we're taking on this show that we're doing, is that we are, you know, we're trying to do something realistic. You know, like I have two jobs. You know, I'm a barber. I, you know, work for the company, and you know, I also have to write and perform music as well.
Yeah.
On top of
It's like we talked about at dinner the other night, right? Like we're not pro bodybuilders. We're not trying to get on a pro bodybuilding stage. So we're not going to necessarily do what pro bodybuilders do to get on a pro bodybuilding stage. We don't have to go that extreme. We don't have to show up with the giant case full of 6 Tupperwares, and we don't have to go to the gym for 4 hours a day, and we don't have to like do all those things. If you are trying to get on a bodybuilding stage, like sure, you're gonna have to do those things by all means and crush them. But if you're like the 99% of the rest of us that don't have that on your bucket list at all, you don't have to go that extreme.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, is that like a lot of this stuff that regular people are told about dieting or exercise kind of came from that community of bodybuilders, where people are like, yeah, you just got to eat unseasoned chicken, you know, like the Taylor Swift of meats. And yeah,
stop it.
They're like, hey, they're like,
you're about to kill Solly right now, dude.
They're like, hey, what can I eat? They're like, imagine Taylor Swift.
Oh man,
imagine her music, and then put that on rice.
Yeah, and it's wild. Like the number of times I'll be out and I'll have like a cheeseburger in my hand, or I'll have a slice of pizza, and somebody will come up to me and they'll go, "Are you on a cheat day?" And I'm like, "Nah, this is just a Friday, homie. Like this is just how I roll."
Yeah, you know, and that it's pretty cool, like seeing how stuff breaks down and stuff like that. Where you're like, oh, okay, because you gave me a realistic number of calories, and within that, like what, you know, how much protein and stuff I need to catch up tonight. But that's what I'm planning on doing. I kind of didn't eat lunch or anything, so yeah, we you know, it's pretty cool to know that, like, all right, there's stuff out there that's like realistic to do, and it's not taking a lot of my time. You know, I have a baby and a wife, and you know, teenagers and all this stuff. You know, tearing up my house, and you know, I still have time for all that, so it's really cool. You know, a lot. Look at it. So we have a Tommy Two Scoops up in the chat. It's a personal trainer and someone who has worked in the gym fitness industry for 5+ years. I believe the whole fitness industry has been ruined by social media.
He's right.
Let's be specific though. Social media inside the gym. People filming themselves inside the gym. I'm all for keeping track of your progress. I'm all for keeping track of your technique, but that doesn't supersede my need to go and get some gains myself, baby.
Yeah, you know, well, then that's there's a whole weird culture, but you know, the YMCA over there at San Mateo and Indian School, it was such a cool environment, and it's there's nobody there basically. Like we were there in the afternoon. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was there this morning, and it was like, it was a bit more packed, but it was still like manageable, you know.
All right. So, by the way, so we're in our last few minutes of this post. By the way, for those of us who just joining in, Fred Slow is not on this one because, you know, Daddy needs a rest. Boppy needs a little chill. You know, so you're late. You're live with myself for sale, Solid Taylor, and Gabe Gambino from Man High, and Coach Turbo Tony himself. We just been talking about professional wrestling, but we did take a little detour talking about real life as it pertains to professional wrestling, because one of the coolest things that we are in transition to seeing is the humanization of those involved with the productions, with all of the show. The when Triple H gave the company Christmas off, that's unheard of. That's insane, especially off on a Monday. You know, that's
Oh,
just
Man, I was
another
so pumped.
reminder that
I was so pumped to hear that when he announced that
that
they were getting that week off for Christmas, or at least just the day off for Christmas.
yeah, that is such a huge deal. I don't think people understand. But people, I think pretty sure, we're not talking to idiots here. You all know what's up. These guys have been on the road as long as they have, and there's this beautiful transition into this. Let's quickly talk about the big headlines. We saw that The Rock is back. He might have called the shot. He might be going for the head of the table. That was a beautiful segment. But not just that. AEW, the devil has been revealed at World's End to be Adam Cole, baby. And that was a really cool swipe, because I figured, because he's been injured, he's been out injured this whole time for a while, they needed to give him some more time to heal, and they would never bring him back. But no, he's like, I'll be part of a segment. I'll just keep my crutches on, which is legit. So I was a little bit swerved on that, man. What y'all think of that, right quick?
Man, I thought that came out of nowhere. Like, that caught me way off guard.
I think the main thing was, as long as it's not Jack Perry, I'm cool. I'm happy. That was my only concern. So it's been an amazing, insane week for wrestling. Let's talk about New Japan Pro, baby. Formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, but now but he's going by a shoe name. What is it again?
Nick Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth.
Nemeth, I think.
Nemeth, Joe Namath's nephew. I don't know. That feels right. But Nick Nemeth, the Nemeth brothers, making their debut in New Japan, and Big Brother Nick making his presence known, going after the head of the Bullet Club, like that.
But let's not just give like the bullet points here, no pun intended. But let's talk about how this man Nick Nemeth decided that he was going to jump from the floor over a table that was on a stage.
Yeah, like that's
and then go straight to work and go like right to work. He walked in, ran in that building, saw a white strap on the belt, and he was like, "Yo, that belt's mine. Get away."
Yeah, that belt was made for him. So, fellas, let's any last words before we cut off on this beautiful, unique session.
Well, I just want to hop in here real quick. I got these bad boys right here. Okay, you see man high on them, right? I do have tickets. I'm challenging myself to sell the most I've ever sold. Like last month, I sold the most I've ever sold. This time, I have 3 weeks to turn it around and do it all again.
How many did you sell last month?
25. So I sold 25. I had like 30. So it was good. But I asked for 50 this time. And I know you have it in you, audience listening on the Sports Animal right now. We're gonna just keep making this thing bigger. And actually, the last show was the biggest we've had in every metric. I know I sold personally the most merch I've ever sold. Like it's just been getting better and better. But I just want to remind you, here on January 20th at the historic El Rey Theater is Duke City Championship Wrestling. It's the Genesis.
January 20th. Turbo Tony.
Well, Gabe stole my thunder. I was going to plug the show on the 20th too. But I
Keep
will
plugging
say,
it, baby.
If you want to keep in touch with everything Gambino Goes Turbo, feel free to make sure that you are following the YouTube channel, youtube.com/DCCDub, and follow me over on Instagram at Tony Davis Coaching, where there will be some info there. There's going to be tons of other info not related to Gambino Goes Turbo, but info related to, it's a brand new year. Everybody's trying to set some new goals. So I'm going to be giving a lot of information for how to actually structure those goals and make them something that you'll actually stick to versus just like something else that you'll be done with, by the 7th of January, which is in a couple of days.
Right.
Guys, Thank you so much for joining us. My last words is you don't want to miss this next show, January 20th at the historic El Rey Theater. I mean, we might have some family business to take care of. That's all I got to say about that, baby.
Oh man.
For those of us who are chatting with us live tonight, and for those of us who are just listening to this live on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal, I appreciate every single one of you for hanging out with us, for chilling with us, for grooving with us, and we'll see you when we see you. Next time y'all see Fred, you give him a big old hug. He needs it.
He loves it.
Needs it. It sustains him.
But for going over, I am Faux Sale Taylor, Solid Taylor, Gabe Gambino from Manheim, Coach Turbo Tony. We appreciate this is going over. It's been real, baby. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your life.